Is the Elder Guardian a boss? Well, in Minecraft there are currently 2 official bosses, the Ender Dragon and the Wither. So wouldn't that apply to the Elder Guardian? What about the Warden? Or the Ravager? Or even the Raid? To figure out whether any of these are bosses, we need to first define what a Minecraft boss is. And we currently have 2 official examples, the Ender Dragon and the Wither. Both are considered boss mobs for various reasons. We have 10 things that both of them have in common that make them bosses, and they go as follows. Both have a boss bar, lots of health, useful drops, give debuffs, are large, fly, grief, can be summoned, you need to go out of your way to encounter them, and they're both intended to be killed by Mojang. Let's go for the first one first. Both of them have a boss bar. This is used to keep track of their health for the players. Anyway, so for our 3 contenders, neither the Elder Guardian, nor the Warden, nor even the Ravager have a boss bar. But there is one thing that does. The Raid. The Raid is a collection of villagers that try to terrorize villages and are basically boss-like fights. And they have boss bars. But the next one is that they have a lot of health. Ender Dragons have 200 health, which honestly isn't that much, because the Wither has 300 health, which is 150 hearts on Java edition. Turns out on Bedrock, not only is the Wither just harder because it spawns Wither skeletons, but also it has 600 health, also known as 300 hearts. That's double Java's. Anyway, they both have a lot of health. Elder Guardians have 80 health, which is 40 hearts, which you may think is a lot, but it's really only 2 Endermen smushed together. Ravagers have a little more, 100 health, which is 50 hearts. And raids are collections of mobs, so we'll count that one, because all of those mobs combined have a lot of health. But the Warden? Oh boy. The Warden does not have 100 health, not 200 health, not 300 health, but 500 health, which is 250 hearts. It's a lot of hearts, man. And that gives it a point here. Something else that the Dragon and Wither share is dropping useful stuff. Now, I get it, the Dragon drops the Dragon Egg, which is literally functionally useless, but it also drops just so much XP. So much XP, in fact, that you can go from level 0 to level 68 just by collecting all of it. 12,000 XP. Also, am I the only one who sees XP as these emoticons combine? And of course, the Wither drops the Nether Star, which can be used to craft a beacon, and those are super useful. So yeah, both the Dragon and the Wither drop useful items. So do the others do the same? Well, the Elder Guardian can drop the following: Prismarine Shard, Prismarine Crystal, Wet Sponge, Raw Cod, Random Fish, and sometimes it drops nothing at all. Now, Prismarine is purely decorative, Wet Sponge is literally useless, Raw Cod is just a useless food just like Random Fish, and so I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that the Elder Guardian doesn't drop useful things. Now, some of you may say that it guards 8 gold blocks, but that's even easier in a bastion, so we're not counting that either. Now, the Warden. Oh gosh, this is dreadful. So the Warden drops 5 XP points, which isn't useful, and it also drops a Skull Catalyst. Also not useful. Yeah, it's not looking good for William over here. As for the Ravager, it drops 20 XP, not that useful, and a saddle. You can get that in almost all chests and they're craftable. So do none of the others drop useful things? No, actually, the Raid is useful. If we're counting all the mobs in the Raid, then we can get XP, emeralds, arrows, redstone, sugar, glowstone dust, and even totems of undying. So yeah, the Raid gets a point here, while the others stay stagnant for now. So the Ender Dragon and Wither both give debuffs. For the Dragon, it's Dragon's Breath, which is just so awful and smelly that if you go into it, you die. And the Wither's debuff is the Wither. I'm serious, when you get directly attacked by it, you get the Wither effect, which is basically poison, but your hearts turn gray instead of green, and it doesn't save you at half a heart. Elder Guardian fans are getting excited, because it does actually have a unique debuff, Mining Fatigue. So without a boatload of milk, you're kinda screwed. Not only are your attacks lower, but mining also takes 370 times as long as normal. To put that into perspective, mining obsidian with mining fatigue with your fist would take over 18 hours. Also, it has thorns. The Warden also gives a debuff, it being the darkness effect. It's basically blindness, but way more terrifying. But the Ravager, no real debuff, and kind of the same with raids. So for the Dragon and Wither again, they're very large. In fact, in vanilla, the Ender Dragon is the largest mob, and the Wither is also quite large, both being a lot bigger than the player. And you know what else is massive? I mean, quite large? All 3 of the other mobs. The Elder Guardian is basically a giant pufferfish, the Warden is bigger than the Iron Golem, which is already huge, and the Ravager, which is part of a raid, is so big that illagers can ride it. I didn't even know they could do that. Other than being large, something else that they have in common is the ability to fly. The Dragon flaps its wings, and the Wither... but the Elder Guardian can't really fly. And for both of the land mobs, Warden and Ravager, it's still true. But for the Raid, there's one mob that comes from raids that can actually fly. That's right, I'm talking about Vexes. They're terrible, but they can fly and they're part of the raid, so I'll count them. Here's where it gets controversial. You see, on many servers, there's a rule called no griefing. But the Ender Dragon and Wither kinda break that rule all the time. But do the other mobs do that too? Well, the Elder Guardian definitely can't break blocks, and the Warden can't either, but the Ravager can actually stomp on crops, and and that counts as griefing. And now, for one of the last requirements, both the Ender Dragon and the Wither can be summoned. The dragon is through end crystals in a shape like this, and the Wither is 4 soul sand soil and 3 wither skeleton skulls. So yeah, they can both be summoned by the player. But is this true with the other mobs? Well, we know that the Elder Guardian can't be summoned because they only spawn once on their own and can't respawn. There's a finite number of them in each given world. But for raids and ravagers, they definitely can be summoned through the help of ominous bottles. And as for wardens, it's pretty obvious that you can summon them with this thing, the Skulk Shrieker. If you activate it 4 times, it summons good old William, which makes me wonder why it's not 3 times, but that's not important right now. Almost the final thing that the Ender Dragon and Wither have in common is that you have to go out of your way to encounter them. This might be taking very specific steps to go to the end, or taking very specific steps to summon the Wither, especially with how rare Wither skeleton skulls are. Now, you technically have to go out of your way for Elder Guardians, but it's just as common to kind of just run into them on your journey, so this won't count for them. On the other hand, you have to drink an ominous bottle to summon a raid, so it does count for that. And for the Warden, you kind of have to go out of your way to summon it, if I'm being honest. Like, if you truly do not want to be there, you'll just get out before summoning him. Anyway, the last requirement is that both the Ender Dragon and Wither are intended by Mojang to be killed by the player. They both drop useful stuff, so clearly Mojang knew that it would be a good idea to kill them. Plus, in every game with bosses, they are meant to be killed. And the Elder Guardian shares the same message. In fact, in the official Update 1.20 trailer, we can clearly see Steve impale an Elder Guardian with a trident. Therefore, Mojang intends for it to be killed. As for the Ravager, it's the same thing, since it's part of a raid most of the time. And raids literally won't let you win until you fully murder all of the involved mobs. So the Ravager is definitely meant to be killed. But here's where the Warden logic falls apart. You see, the Warden has more health than the Wither in Java Edition, yet it doesn't drop anything useful. It's basically an ultra high risk fight with literally no reward. And even Mojang has confirmed themselves that it's not meant to be killed. So if we tally up the points, the Elder Guardian doesn't have a boss bar, doesn't have a lot of health, doesn't drop useful stuff, gives debuffs, is large, doesn't fly, can't grieve, can't be summoned, you don't have to go out of your way to encounter it, and it's intended to be killed. The Warden doesn't have a boss bar, it has lots of health, it doesn't drop useful stuff, it gives debuffs, it's large, it doesn't fly, it can't grieve, it can be summoned, you need to go out of your way to encounter it, and they don't intend for you to kill it. For the sake of time, I'll combine the Ravager and Raid into one, since raids involve Ravagers. Raids have a boss bar, they have lots of health with all the mobs combined, they drop useful stuff, they don't give debuffs, they are large, they fly, they grief, they can be summoned, you have to go out of your way to encounter them, and they're intended to be killed. Altogether, the Elder Guardian scores a 3 out of 10, the Warden scores a 5 out of 10, and the Raid scores a 9 out of 10 on the boss criteria. I think that the answer is clear. The Elder Guardian definitely isn't a boss, the Warden is half a boss, but in my opinion it isn't because it's not intended to be killed, and the Raid is definitely a boss. Also a disclaimer, this is all in vanilla survival without commands. No mods or add-ons involved. So really, for now, there are 3 bosses in Minecraft. The Ender Dragon, the Wither, and the Raid. And fun fact, breaking news! As I was editing the voiceover for this video, Minecraft, the official YouTube channel, uploaded this video talking about the f***ing Elder Guardians. And in the video, Jeb explicitly called it a mini-boss.
I'd call it a mini-boss.
Which isn't a full boss. So I was right. But what is my luck, man? I make a video about illagers and they make a video about illagers. I make one about Elder Guardians, they do the same. But I did actually post 2 videos today, and you can watch the other one right here. Anyway, thanks for watching this UIT Minecraft video. Jesus is Lord, and until next time, undefeatable army.